Corinne had been one shy wallflower since I knew her. She would open up when in the company of women, and I realized early that she had issues. I never questioned her on her own identity. When we became close and developed into her mentor, her personality around me did a complete 180. Around others, she had come out of her shell by still shy. A little background: she is the product of a liberal mother, my cousin Amy, and a left-of-center father. One sister and one brother, she was the last on the sibling hierarchy. My analysis of her mother, my first cousin, was a free-flowing family of means that paid minimal attention to Corinne, name for purposes of this story, but nothing abusive. She was 8 years younger than her sister. Her mother/father were in the traveling episode of life, given wealth from hard work and selling the family business for beaucoup bucks. The kids were provided the best in education and all that society offered. However, they were well grounded in having jobs in the family business or odd jobs during summers. Cutting to the chase, Corinne finally confirmed my suspicions. She had genuine gender dysphoria that had to be addressed. Small in frame but athletic runner, she reminded me of my own HS years. At 5 feet 9 inches, she had long hair below the shoulders, which was always in a tangled mess of a low ponytail. Work began in earnest to test the waters. She seemed to soak up my story of life, and I could see by her questioning, she was doing a comparison charting. I had moved to a house years ago in Darien, allowing her to stay over any time she wanted while her parents were traveling. It started with innocent hints of my dresser drawer having items moved, makeup placed in different locations. The start that we all went through when we had no items, that I knew of our own. Based on whim, I gently asked if she liked the contents of my clothes closet. After her red cheeks died down, the journey began. I asked her if she liked more androgynous clothing. She said yes and explained she tended toward more feminine-style jeans. I said I admired her long hair but recommended she take better care. One night I had her wash/condition and allow me to style it a bit. I loaned her a robe and suggested she take care of any body hair by shaving. No pushback. Once out of the shower, I gave her a hair treatment while I cleaned up her nails. Seeing her in that short robe, hair up in a turban and working shaping her nails, I had an immediate flashback to my own high school years of friends indulging my own needs. It was like duck to water as she applied lotion to her new hairless legs. While the hair treatment was working, we watched a movie in the bedroom. Not sure if it was the warm bath or the movie, he nodded off for about 2 hours. Upon rousing, she shot up with a startle as if everything that had happened was a dream. I assured her that she was in confidential hands and not to worry. A glow came over her as we unwrapped her hair, and I started to comb it out before a light trim. Her wet hair surrounded her delicate facial features. I suggested cleaning up her brows, which was the first sign of reluctance. Easing her fears, I may have went too far with tapering and thinning out the brows for a look that bent the gender presentation a tad. Trimming the ragged ends of the hair and a good blow-dry with a roller brush gave her a full head of hair without any styling. She could easily brush it to an innocent style, but she admired the initial blowout, constantly turning her head and making comments, "Is it too girly?" To which my response was, "It is a girly as you may wish," greeted with a coy smile. Over the following weeks she would visit more often and stayed weekends. It was one weekend that exploration of her feminine side expanded. I believed that it would take this turn, so I stored up some basic items for when the steps progressed. I had purchased a small cache of lingerie along with an age-appropriate set of skirts/tops/shoes/accessories. One weekend she expressed a further request to restyle her hair. At this time, she had developed a more feminine mannerism when fluffing out her hair. She would still wear it in a low ponytail, which was not unusual for her generation. She continued to reveal how comfortable she was with her being attracted to girls to talk to at school. I gave subtle suggestions as to maybe you have projected a more feminine side because your hair is not such a mess, that the girls gravitated to. Not blushing, she said, maybe so, but they looked way better than me, laughing. I chuckled a bit and then said, how would you know unless you tried? You could hear a pin drop for the next 20 seconds until she said, can we try? Oh my God. It was as if I had a déjà vu moment from my own HS years. I said, do you trust me? To which she said, I wish you were my sister. I then suggested we check after she hopped by the shower. Shave all over and meet me back in the bedroom. I then proceeded to bring out all the stored items. Once toweled off and sporting a light robe, she entered for inspection. She had her hair bundled in a towel like any girl. First thing I insisted was again to clean up the nails. It was at this time I noticed she had let them grow. Shaping them, I suggested a light clear polish. She frowned. I said, how about a light pink, to which she seemed to squelch a muted sound of glee. I suggested she go into the bathroom and attempt to hide her tiny bulge with some snug panties I produced. Done and done, she returned and had seen I had lain out an outfit of bra, skirt, top that had that Catholic high school girl look, plaid skirt to about just above the knee, simple Pima cotton button-down shirt, black flats. It was almost as if her eyes had become welded to the sight of the bra. Obviously, she was not a novice to hooking a bra. That done, I produced a set of silicone forms, concave backing so they fit like a glove without adhesive, and gave her the option to attach them. She hesitated with the attachment suggestion at first. Bra and panties set, we then turned the attention to her hair. We used a curling iron after a blow dry and created a nice full look with moderate curl. Oh my gosh! The hair took her to a new level. She looked like a nice 17 years HS teen as she sat down at the makeup table. We went through the full gamut of testing certain looks. Age appropriate, of course. It was obvious this was not the first foray into the world of makeup. Obvious we would need a shopping day soon to make some MAC salesperson very happy. Her features lent to a natural look. High cheekbones surely were a plus. No false lashes, as her own were to die for and envious with application of mascara. A spritz of finishing spray and voila, Corinne was born. Into the skirt/blouse/flats followed. Had not noticed before, but her ears had already been pierced. Just a moderate diamond set of studs. A dual thin strand necklace and a ring and watch, and before me was the change. Very cute, 17 years old. We just stayed around the house the rest of the day. Nighttime, I gave her a silky slip gown for bed as we removed makeup and prepped for the next day. In the morning, I ventured into her room, and she looked like any other teen girl fast asleep. Eventually she arose and met me for breakfast. The rest of the morning was the guilt phase of her trying to explain herself. Justify what we had done. But ending in me assuring her that this is a journey to explore and embrace, if that is a chosen path. I also stressed the need to seek professional counseling. She was a smart gal who took everything in stride. Monday was a school holiday, so Sunday and Monday were Corinne days. The weeks thereafter were continued dress-up sessions and refining makeup techniques. There were occasional shopping trips with Corinne in androgynous mode. She was still unsure of her feminine presentation. Even tough, I reassured her she was better than most of the young gals in town. She paid attention to detail in attire and makeup. Her reluctance was also that Westport is actually a small town, and chances of meeting mutual friends in stores and restaurants was a great possibility. With her confidence building from counseling and revelation to her mother, I suggested we test the waters with a trip I had experienced with my namesake aunt. For me, it was a confidence builder when my aunt took me to NYC for shopping and mingling with the masses as Molly. Corinne agreed it was time to mainstream and push the envelope. Friday was a school holiday for Thanksgiving. We prepped for the train ride into the city. This was pre-Christmas, so we chose the post-Turkey Day weekend to observe the Rockefeller tree lighting. Not in a rush, Corinne came over in the morning for hair and makeup. An age-appropriate look again was achieved. Hair was rollered and blown to a more upbeat look as we would be doing a play, dinner out and shopping on Madison and Fifth Avenue stores. Colder weather, she opted for jeans for the train trip. As a special treat, it was time to suggest adhering the breast forms. With her hairless/soft smooth torso, the adhesive was applied for maximum effect. I had secured through a friend who worked in Broadway some tinted liquid latex to help smooth and hide the edges of the forms. She was afraid about removal for return to school on Tuesday. I explained the process of adhesive remover. And maybe she would want to continue wearing them under a large sweater. The planted seed was not dismissed by her. Time was taken in placement of the forms resulted in a nice appearance. The seams were not hidden no matter what stories suggest. However, with the liquid latex, they did have a minimum look to the edges on her chest. I told her that they were hers to keep. Expensive as they were, I assured her it was a necessary tool for her to use over and over until she sorted out any future need for her progress through the fog of dysphoria. She reacted like a child with a new toy. The bounce and feel of the breasts resulted in preening before the mirror. Eventually, I got her to put on a bra. A further present was black Imprint balconette underwire bra that upped the quality of her stash. Another kid in a toy store moment as she gushed over the style, quality and fact that her boobs moved with every movement. Another flashback for me when my sister bought me my first quality bra in my own teen years. A nice long sleeve button-up tan chiffon blouse complemented her designer jeans. The rest of the morning was in and out of her own closet she maintained in the spare bedroom, selecting clothes to pack for the trip. Slacks for shopping. The obligatory LBD for dinner and other outfits, that as usual for a girl, exceed the amount need for a 3-day trip. Complimentary lingerie for each outfit was selected. PJs and cosmetics filled the suitcase to the brim. Mid-afternoon it was off to the train station. I am not sure if it was the attached breasts or a growing confidence, but her step outside and into the train station had a more assured look. Not once did I sense her looking around, afraid someone might see her in the busy small train station of Westport. The 1-hour ride was a chatty time with Corinne asking questions about my own history of the first NYC as Molly. The train was full and not once did I sense any anxiety by her in presenting her girl side in public. Cab ride from Grand Central to the Warwick Hotel at 55th and 6th Avenue was a breeze. My original trip with my aunt was to the Plaza. But that hotel was converted to condos with minimal hotel rooms and expensive. The Warwick is a great boutique hotel with a great location. A nice suite overlooking 6th Avenue allowed us plenty of room to spread out our things, along with a generous-sized bathroom to allow all hair/makeup products without clutter. First outing was a quick tour of stores on 5th Avenue. They are nice stores but very crowded with tourists on this holiday weekend. I always found the stores over on Madison Avenue in the 60s less stressing. It was time to treat my cousin to lingerie. Off to Rigby and Peller for her to shop. Many times, the clerk would offer a free fitting, to which Corinne said a definite no. I told her if she ever considered breast augmentation, this was the place for proper fitting and purchases. LOL, she turned a few shades of red after mentioning augmentation. I think it was more a reaction to her own dream rather than being embarrassed. A quick tour of Bloomingdale's resulted in 2 pair of heels, which she was lacking and needed for the LBD. Back at the hotel around 6 p.m. it was time to clean up. Nice slow bath for her and quick shower for myself. Time to dress. Corinne decided to wear the new black prima donna bra we had just purchased. It was Deauville bra that fit her extremely well with her in-place boobs. This was matched with black high-cut bikini panties. She was very lacking in the bulge area, and whatever her method, I could not detect any trace of that thingy to betray her feminine presentation. I almost teared up seeing the progress she had attained in her physical look and confidence. Attention to skin care over time allowed a look of a very mature 17 years old with a more 20s appearance. Lack of tanned legs resulted in pulling on light pantyhose. She finished it off stepping into a simple black Michael Kors dress that hit her just above the knee. It was at that point I marveled at the totally feminine curves she had. Not sure it was the family genes or what, but she not padded anything to pull off the look. Add simple 2-inch strappy open-toed heels. Add a pearl necklace, bracelet. She was ready. She told me that a watch was necessary as that was men were for laughed out loud with her, as we grabbed our evening clutch bags, donned overcoats and headed for the lobby. I looked for turning heads as we exited for a cab. Crowded sidewalk and only noticed a slight raised eyebrow from the doorman as he held the cab door for us to enter. It was off to my favorited restaurant, the River Cafe, just across the East River. It is a great location just off the Brooklyn Bridge and on a barge under the bridge. Great views from a table on the glass. Allowed her to one cocktail for dinner. Tough Brooklyn has had a revival. After dinner was another cab ride back across the bridge to Manhattan. Tired feet from our heels, we elected to go back to the hotel. A stop in the hotel bar for a drink, then it was up to the room for jump into our PJs, just relax and watch a movie. Makeup removed, we just cuddled on the couch for a movie. The conversation evolved into questions. Questions about my own journey and comparing her own. I let he know that each journey is case-specific, and no one can predict how to meet the needs without counseling, support and inner conviction. She meekly said she had always felt a girl inside. I reassured her to continue counseling sessions, as it is a long road. Maturity is the key. I also told her that any reveal to family and friend would result in 75% acceptance by family, 90% acceptance by gal friends, and 0 to 10% by guys in her class as they were just immature. I suggested any coming out is best when away at college, when it presents a new level of people to whom you can selectively include into your life. She asked about the University of Vermont, where I had gone. I highly suggested it, proud alum, as it is a very liberal school and town. They had some great LGBT programs at that time which have expanded and improved over time. Wherever she would go, I told her you need a safe environment. The next day was more shopping and getting ready to walk down the block to Radio City to see the Rockets. Of all her, living in Connecticut and oh so close to NYC, she had never seen the Rockets. We opted for tailored slacks and cute blouses for the performance. More lingerie purchases resulted in a white lacy bra that had trace that you could see through her silky white blouse. She was turning into quite the young lady. We were met by her mother, who traveled into town and wanted as a pretext to see the Rockets. Her real reason was to see her daughter and experience what had only been talked between themselves as to her progress. I think she was jealous of the fact that I was having first-hand knowledge of Corinne's progress over the months. When we went down to her room and the door opened, it was a look on her face that I wish I had captured in photo. Amy, her mother, just gasped and took Corinne's hands and led her into the room. A happy interaction was encountered by all. Off the show, I would catch a glimpse of Amy looking in Corinne's direction with nothing but a smile. After the show, we walked many a block to Fifth Avenue up to the plaza for a nightcap at the bar. The bar was full, but we found space at the bar and enjoyed our drinks. Corinne was not carded as she looked like a typical 20-something that owned the moment. We ended the evening with a corny carriage ride in the park. Amy at that point lost it a bit, telling Corinne to follow your heart. Back at our hotel, we continued the girl fest in our room. Amy explained that Corinne's father, Tim, a real nice guy, had suspicions of these issues. Amy stated that it may take a while for him to be 100% on board, but that she was confident that it would not be a problem. His issue was that he was not part of the early discussion. Sunday, last-minute shopping before waiting to grab a train home. Bags and bags of our treasures stuffed around us as we struggled to navigate Grand Central to our train. Quiet once we were in our seats, as we were tired, and dozed on the trip to Connecticut. On arrival, Corinne went off with me to my house as she had to change before heading home. Based on our discussion, Amy planned to have a sit-down with Corinne's dad and be open about current issues. After a week of anxiety, I received a call from Corinne that her dad was accepting, after their sit-down and a counseling session. The rules were, okay to dress at home, okay to spend time with me, okay for ramped-up counseling for all of them, okay to go with androgynous look for school, not okay to dress around town until end of HS semester, not okay to reveal to extended family members yet. Dad was still cautious, more toward Corinne's safety than concern of her chasing her feminine side. Connecticut is viewed as liberal, but there are still well-entrenched conservative values on not upsetting the social apple cart. Trust me, having gone through the same process years ago, people are naive and cruel at times when they do not know how to confront this type of personal change. As my mother said, screw them, but be careful for the idiots. The slow reveal at home was when her sister came for Easter break. She loved the fact she might have a new sister. She expressed he desired that Corinne develop her own wardrobe and not pilfer Carly's things. Carly had her suspicions that Corinne had used her lingerie and played with her clothes closet, but had no means to reveal to anyone those suspicions. Her brother Tim Jr. was just Blaze. He was of the mindset of whatever floats your boat and never teases Corinne. The reveal to other family members would be on hold, as Amy remembers the reaction when I came out of the closet. There were some mean SOBs. Given Corinne's age and counseling, it was clear that no radical changes could occur until the usual 1 year presenting as a woman. That was the typical psych approach, before they would sign off on any gender-affirming procedures. Corinne's bucket list was first, a breast augmentation. She appreciated the breast forms, and was adept in the latex blending process, but it really bugged her that she had to wait. Corinne would wear the forms to school often, until the days got warmer requiring light tops/shirts. Her close girlfriends at school were well aware of the breast forms. Her father was a little distraught, again fearing for her safety once he found out. I think it was more his lack of vetting these girls in advance, very controlling, before he allowed it. All went well that spring semester. Corinne had applied to Columbia, Dartmouth, University of Vermont, Georgetown, and Boston College. Her grades and extracurricular activities gave her a good shot at each. She was given acceptance at each except for Columbia. She continued to be interested in Vermont, as she questioned each school about the possibility of single-room dorm availability. Only Vermont and gave satisfactory responses, so she chose to go to the University of Vermont. Early after graduation, Corinne, before she full-time around town, it was also the time her shrink signed off on hormone therapy. The first visit to her internist was funny. After the first visit, she could not understand why she could not have her RX for pills right away. Maybe I will have Uncle Lawrence sue them. Her mother and I just laughed, explaining they had to wait on the blood workup. Within 2 weeks, all testing came back positive, and she was given the prescription. The doctor gave her a low dose of estradiol. The RX was for Spiro and estradiol in pill form. Another laugh was getting the RX filled at the local pharmacy. We knew the pharmacist, and Corinne was scared about the reaction by him when she would hand over the prescription. We convinced her that there was nothing to worry about. All went well and the pills were in hand. Taking the first dose there in the parking lot, a look of glee was over her face. I am sure she wanted a magic transformation right here and then. She was soon supplemented with shots, which definitely upped the ante on her transformation. After graduation, Corinne asked to dress full-time. Again, Tim voiced reluctance, based on safety and the small-town environmental social circles. It took further meetings with the counselor to convince Tim that the path had been chose and that nothing like the present when the stars line up to test the full-time presentation. That summer Corinne went full-time. I became jealous of her growing wardrobe from lingerie to shoes. My own journey was not that extensive during my progress. Ventures into the village were not met with any problems. Meeting her girlfriends on a day-to-day basis was a delight for them and Corinne. Some boy classmates made a disparaging comment then. Midway into the summer Corinne strutted her stuff with zero anxiety how anyone would react. It was decided at the end summer, and before heading off to school, it was by her parents to come out to family members. There had been an encounter or two of passing by family members in the village or seeing Corinne at the club, so rumors were spreading among the clan. As expected, the majority were okay with it, with a snicker or two, while predictably 25% because of strong conservative Catholic values, were adverse. Most of that 25% were not cruel, but they were from upbringings that did not have the understanding that there is more in the world other than the right school, marrying into the right crowd and chasing careers. So, all was set. Over the summer with the pills and shots progressed with the transformation. Already Corinne had feminine feature, but by August there were further changes for the better. By the end of August, before heading off to college, the feminine features had refined to where there was no trace of a male image. Body change continued with noted waist reduction and hip flaring. Alas! Little change in the small buds of a breast formation off to school with bags packed. Nothing packed except the closet of a woman we crammed into the SUV for the ride. Amy and Tim took me along as they thought it appropriate that Corinne's mentor enjoy the process. After registration it was off to the dorm. Cute single room in one of the older dorms. Plenty of dresser drawer to stuff her expanding inventory of bras and panties. Good to see she continued to have good taste in quality of her bra purchases. The necessary skirts/tops/dresses for those occasions when jeans would not be the mode. Many gals and guys in the same dorm visited during the move. Many were jealous she had a single room. One or two stated the reason she had the single room, but not in derogatory way. I think Corinne was anxious to get the old folks on the road so she could settle in. It had been a while since I had been to Burlington and pleased to see the changes that had occurred. Tim and Amy had met at Yale, so this was a new experience for them in a different college town. All went well for Corinne. She continues to study at Vermont, thinking of changing to pre-med. By the end of her freshman year her psych signed off for gender reassignment. Step 1 was the breast augmentation. Counseling suggested that she wait on bottom surgery till after graduation. Lots more consideration before she contemplated what would be one radical change and the ramifications of post-surgery care. Before going back for the sophomore year, the surgery was performed in late July. We wanted enough time for recovery before heading back to Vermont. Corinne jumped at scheduling the breast augmentation. All went well and given her frame a nice set of gummy bear silicone 360 cubic centimeters implants were used. Expected recovery and nice rest of the summer of flaunting her new assets in her first bikini and more of course purchased. We had continued discussions over the summer about bottom surgery. I related my own experience and did not hold back that the recovery phase was exhausting for the first year. I suggested she hold off till she had further counseling and insight other than her cousin's input. Her sophomore year had been going well. Each interaction with her I see nothing but a journey well planned. I am certain she will wait for the bottom surgery either through wisdom or I scared the hell out of her. She has become such an independent woman. She holds family values as she continues this journey. She has joined various clubs at school that help advance the LGBT education toward others. She is not a flaming advocate, but realizes the key is self-awareness through knowledge, counseling to identify one's issues, family support and conviction to follow through on your dreams. I am very proud of my beautiful butterfly.